Hello and welcome back, you guys. This is Caleb and welcome to the Beat League. Today we are working on some Ableton sessions, and I figured I'd take a second to make this quick tutorial on sidechain compression. This is just going to be a quick intro so that you understand what it is when people say sidechain compression, and you understand maybe where or when would be a good time to use it. So in general, I use sidechain compression to clean up the low end. So what I'm talking about is if I have a bass line and then also the kick drum that are both really, really low. So say I have like an 808 kick and I also have a very low sub bass sound. Those two things are occupying the same tonal range. Like they're occupying the same sound or the spectrum of sound, right? So the low end. And that low end can get really muddy. And so a technique is to use sidechain compression on the bass guitar or the sub bass to allow some space for the kick drum to make its way through and be punchier and be clearer. So what sidechain compression does is basically sets a trigger to only turn the compression on when something else happens. So in this case, when the sub bass is playing, if the kick drum is going at the same time, then when the kick hits, then the sidechain compression is going to fire on the sub bass and it's going to compress it. It's going to turn it down a little bit. And so let's take a look at what that looks like in context, or let's listen to what it sounds like in context. So here's this here's this kick. Nice and juicy. Okay. And then here we have some bass. Okay. They're occupying that same really, really, really low end. And together, they can sound a little bit muddy. They can clash a little bit. But when we utilize sidechain compression, then what we're doing is we're going to clear up the sound. So where we find that is right here. If you just click and drag in any just compressor in Ableton, I'm just going to go ahead and use just the basic compressor. You can drag it in. And what you want to do is right here where this little arrow is, you want to open that up. You want to select sidechain, enable it, and then you want to tell it what audio does it need to pay attention to? Like what is going to trigger this sidechain compression to happen? And so for us, since we're on the bass, we want to tell it to fire when the kick happens. So the audio so listen to the kick drum track, audio from the kick. And then what we can do is we can see here, let's turn this one off. Can I hide it? There we go. I'm just going to turn it off. You can see here in this one that this is my threshold, my compressor threshold. And you can now see that it's listening to the kick drum. Every time the kick drum hits, it's there. It's tuned into that. But right now we're not doing anything because we're the kick drum is below the threshold. We need to take our threshold and drag it down below the kick. So then that way it starts to compress the bass every time the kick drum hits. So if I bring back in the kick, okay, and I can go extreme. Do you hear it turning that bass way down? Okay. Have you ever heard in some like EDM, there'll be like an instrument that's going wah, 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 wah. It sounds like it's being like turned down by itself. Like it's got like that pumping sound. That's a trick you can use where you turn sidechain on and look for the kick drum to be the trigger and pull that threshold all the way down, but then mute the kick drum. So it's listening to the kick drum trigger, it's compressing the sound, but you're not actually hearing the kick. That's how you get that sound. Anyways, in this context, we really just want to clean up the low end. right? We just want to clean up that low end so it's not just heavy bass, heavy kick at the exact same time. We're gonna listen to the kick. Every time the kick hits, we're gonna turn that bass down a little bit and let that kick punch through. This could be used in guitar and vocal. This could be used in any two instruments or sounds that are in the same space, and you want to create a little bit of breathing room for them to be able to pop out. And you can experiment where you want to put them and how you want to use them and how much compression you want to use, because you have all those controls at your fingertips. Here you're going to see like I'm compressing the bass just a little bit, enough for that kick to be able to come through. You know what I'm saying? And so that just, in the context of the mix, maybe it's not that crazy to my ears. It's nice to hear that kick drum have enough room to come through and punch every time. So that's a quick tutorial on what sidechain compression is. Maybe some ideas on how you could use it. I use it a lot for my low end, but you could use it any way you want. So hopefully that's been helpful. You guys, listen, please like, subscribe, share, noties, all that stuff, because whenever you guys interact with my videos, it just helps. It helps bubble me to the top. There's a lot of people out here on YouTube, obviously. There's a lot of content creators. So if you like what you see, you like what you hear, you like the vibe, please support the channel. And remember, it's free to sub. So please sub if you can. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings.